Hi, this is Lauren Randolph with My Hotel Wedding. Sorry, I'm a little bit late today. We're having some technical difficulties, of course, of all the days. So what I wanted to talk with you all about today is wedding vendors and the importance of working with wedding vendors and different questions that you should be asking vendors as you're going out looking and you're putting together that dream team for your wedding day. I was actually working an amazing wedding this weekend, and one of the reasons it was so amazing and flawless was because of the team that was involved. It was because everyone from the florist to the DJ to the rental company to the event planner I was working with were just top-notch vendors and people, and we all came together to collaborate to really create a perfect wedding day for this couple that was married on Saturday. So don't ever think that planning a wedding is an isolated thing that you're doing on your own. Planning a wedding is in fact you could say it, a team sport. It is all about the team that you bring along with you in planning that wedding, which is really one of the first things I wanted to say when you're going out choosing your vendors. Meet with them. If you can't meet with them in person, have a phone call and talk to those vendors and say or ask questions, see what their personality is like, see if your personalities align or if you're like water and oil. If it's the latter, it's probably not the right vendor for your wedding day. You want to make sure that not only do you like your work, but their work, but you enjoy being around them. One of the other things I wanted to say too is when you're choosing your vendors, don't only look at a vendor's website. Look across the internet for different reviews on how other couples have felt interacting with the vendors for their wedding day. But more importantly too, look at the vendors' excuse me, social media outlets. Like, you want to see their most current work. And these days, a lot of vendors aren't putting as much time into updating their websites. They're updating their Instagram, their Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, they're updating their media, social media outlets. So be sure to check them out before making your decisions. And also, as you're making a decision for your vendor, take into consideration what is their style and does their style align with your style. If you are a bride that wants a super modern, sleek wedding, then don't go with the florist that does rustic chic all over their Instagram and they do rustic chic really well, because that florist is probably not going to do sleek and modern to your liking because they specialize in rustic chic. So when you're looking at your vendors, I mean, the same thing with a band. You want a really great jazz band, then don't pick a salsa band to play jazz. I know this might sound like common sense, but it's easy to think that you can kind of change vendors to make them, I guess, align with your vision, but instead go out, look at vendor styles, see what they do well, and pick your vendor team based on what are their skills and what they do well. I also wanted to share with you, which was part of this whole happy hour, are questions that you should be asking your vendors. So I'm going to share with you a few questions that from each category that I think are important to ask, but I also want to let you know too that when you join our e-course, you can find links on our Facebook page and on myhotelwedding.com, but when you join our e-course, you get all the questions to ask every vendor before you book, while you're booking. So it's a more comprehensive list. But today I just wanted to kind of share with you a little bit of insight. So let's first start with photographer and videographer. I think one of the most important questions that can be really easily overlooked is how many hours of service will they dedicate to your wedding day? You have to remember that your wedding day can be anywhere from 10 to 12 to 14 hours, depending on how late you go, when you start, when you want photography or videography to start. So different packages can be based on 8 hours, 10, 12. You want to make sure that you're getting a package that includes all the time for everything you want, because once you hit overtime with these vendors, you're hitting time and a half, double cost. It's a lot higher rate that can really add up quickly. So you want to make sure you're booking the correct package that has the right amount of hours for your wedding day. One of the questions I like to ask our lighting designers are what uplights they're doing in the room and how the colors of their uplights, excuse me, will affect photography. So know that if you're uplighting a room in blue and cool tones, it's probably not going to photograph the same on different skin tones and people and white dresses and colors as it will if it's in warm ambers and pinks. So if that's something, or candlelight kind of feeling. So that's something to talk about with your lighting designer to make sure that you're not only lighting the room to have the right atmosphere that you want, but also is it going to reflect well in your photographs. Rentals. So one of the things that gets overlooked a lot with rentals is not only delivery dates, but loadout dates as well. And as you're scheduling and arranging for load in, load out, you want to ask if there's different rates depending on the day. So a lot of times you're going to pay more for a same day loadout, a Sunday loadout. If the venue or the hotel has more flexibility in giving you more leadway to load in or load out, that's going to help with those delivery costs, which can easily escalate and add additional costs onto your budget that you weren't anticipating. So definitely ask questions on if there's a difference between same night loadout, Sunday loadout, or Monday or Friday, et cetera, so that you make sure you're kind of asking all those right questions up front and you're able to budget appropriately. Because as you'll remember in our budgeting video, the budget really is a living, breathing document that you'll be updating as you get more information in terms of cost. So for flowers, one of the things I like to tell my brides is to always ask about what flowers are in season. So if you're someone that loves peonies and you've always dreamt of peonies for your wedding, then you probably want to plan your wedding date around the season of peonies being in season. So that's something to be aware of. Otherwise, if flowers aren't in season, they might have to be shipped from different countries internationally, and that can be a really big cost really, really quickly. So that's something to keep in mind. When it comes to glassware and rentals, you want to know who's responsible for any breakage. Like if you're having your wedding at a venue versus a hotel, if anything is broken by the venue or hotel, who's responsible? A lot of the times you're responsible, even if the hotel breaks it. So it's something to be aware of how much breakage, if there's an allowance or not when you're renting those things. And if anything does come broken, you want to make sure to document that or have your planner document it for your records so that you're not charged for anything that comes broken. With linen rentals, I always like to ask if they throw in regards to napkins, if they throw in a couple extra napkins. Otherwise, you're going to want to order some extra napkins and even an extra linen or so, because I guarantee you napkins always get lost, or a table always pops up that you need a linen for. So it's always better to be over prepared as opposed to under prepared in that department. With the band, when you're meeting, if you're having a band and you're meeting with bands, you want to ask how often they have to take breaks and for how long, because this will really change the flow of your wedding night, knowing how often and when the band has to break. You might plan your meal times during the band breaks, or you might have entertainment or a DJ instead or something. So it's important to know what those breaks are so you can plan appropriately for the flow, and also to know how many vendor meals have to be provided for the band, because there's always sound technicians and additional people with the band. And again, that will impact your budget, which is one of our videos here talking about the budget. And so you'll want to go back and make those adjustments accordingly. And with the DJ, one of the common things I find is a lot of people want to download songs right there at the wedding. They'll get requests, and some DJs are totally open to taking those requests, downloading the song, bam, playing it right there. But that's not every DJ. So as you're meeting with DJs, you want to make sure that that's something you can do, and if they'll take requests. And also I would say to ask too what type of DJ they are and what kind of style they have. Like if they have a demo video or reel from working another event, I would take a look at that. Some DJs are really MCs and DJs, or they're more talkative and vocal. And if you want somebody that'll MC your whole wedding, then you want to make sure you find that kind of DJ. If you want a DJ who's just going to be in the background playing some killer music, keeping your dance floor packed all night, but not talking on the mic, make sure you find that right DJ. Otherwise, you could end up with something you don't want. So I think it's really important, again, to kind of ask what is the type of work they do and how they DJ different events. With officiants, I always like to ask how they build the ceremony and how much customization plays a part in it, and how much they make it your own and personalized to you, and to make sure it's not something cookie cutter, but something that is very meaningful to you as a couple. And let's see, with the wedding planner, there's a lot of different questions when it comes to finding that right wedding or event planner, which is actually why I will defer you to our whole video on why you should have a wedding planner, whether you're having a hotel wedding, a wedding at a private estate, whatever it may be. We did a whole video on why you should really consider bringing on a wedding planner as part of your vendor team. I think that's really all the questions I went through. I also wanted to share with you, let me see if I can share my screen. Kind of a little sheet that I like to use that talks about, let me see if I can find that. That talks about vendor negotiation and the pros and cons of negotiating with your vendors. So I like to kind of write out all of the information and compare and contrast all of my vendors side by side. So I just wanted to share that sheet with you. And let me just see if we got any questions posted to our video. Don't think so. If you have questions, I forgot to do my whole housekeeping because it took me so long to get online today. But if you have questions, please post them to the comment section of YouTube, as I will be sure to answer them. And also feel free to email us anytime at info@myhotelwedding.com. Any topics you want to know, any questions you have. Skipping up, myhotelwedding.com, where we connect you with your hotels for your wedding day. You can send your wedding requests and information with no commitment. And we're still doing our survey on the site. There's a link on the website, and you can be entered to win a $25 Visa gift card. We want your feedback, and we want to know what your fears are or what you want to learn more about when it comes to your wedding planning process. So I think that's all for today. And I just want to thank you all for joining me at my hotel wedding happy hour this week. And I look forward to seeing you all next week and talking about more wedding planning fun. Have a wonderful Monday evening. Bye-bye.